Welcome back. So let's start implementing the IUnitOfWork inside our new UnitOfWork class. Step one, gonna add a folder right here, a new folder. I'm just going to call UOW. That's the name of the folder, UnitOfWork. And here I'm going to add a new file, and that file will be called UnitOfWork. And let's just call it mem for memory, right? So again, we'll change that later because I just want to kind of give you guys a brief. Normally you wouldn't put in InMemory Context, you just say context. You wouldn't put in customer repository EF memory, you would just say customer repository. I'm just doing this to kind of show you guys how easy it is to switch these guys out if you want to later on. But you would normally start with a default context, and then maybe in the future you would change that, and then you would maybe figure out a better name, right? But as standard you wouldn't go in all the time and figure out crazy names like this one. So now we have the context available, the UnitOfWork implementation available, and that's of course going to use the interface IUnitOfWork. Now that interface fails right now, so I'll do a quick fix and I'll just implement the thing it needs to call itself a UnitOfWork. And of course that is the iCustomer repository that we asked it to use last time, and then the complete function down here and the dispose function. Now when I remove this craziness which is trying to help us out, and I just do a getter and setter here, then we won't get an error anymore. So I'll do a get right here, but I'll do the setter private. Let's make it internal actually, because then everybody in the project can set this if they want to. Right now, that's fair. So we have the first property available for the UnitOfWork. We have the IUnitOfWork ready. Now we need to kind of get a context in here, and we have two choices. We can either send in a context from the outside, but that would kind of make our context public, meaning that in principle the business logic layer could also grab the context. Now the problem here is that it could just start creating contexts out there and just go around all our beautiful UnitOfWork system if it wanted to. So we are going to, for now at least, make the context internal. So what are we going to do here? Well, first I'm going to make a private context right here, private context. And that's going to be, I need to of course put in InMemory Context, InMemory Context, and I'll just call that context for now like this. Again, we can discuss how we should actually write the property. Now it gives me a red line. Let me try and see if I can autocomplete that for me. It can by using the customer app context because it's pointing at this folder right here. Okay. Now we have the context available because we need that actually to start populating our repositories, because remember, the repository now needs a context from the outside to actually start working, right? So that's kind of what we are preparing for here with the context. Now the next thing we want to do when we create a UnitOfWork, if we do not want to expose the context, we need to create it down here. So I'll make a new InMemory Context right here, and that's all I have to do. Now I have a clean context. So now with the context available, we're going to pass that into our first repository that we're going to make right here, and that's going to be, of course, a new customer, again, crazy long name, but what can you do? I already named it that, so let's keep it that way. We are again going to use the entities, so now we have our repository ready, but notice the repository needs a context to call itself a repository, so we'll pass that in right here. So that's actually all we had to do. Now we kind of have set up the basic parts of this. We have the first repository available. More will pop up as we start expanding the application. We have a context that can kind of represent the database, the context of the database. It knows the connection, it knows the tables, it knows how the database should work, and it also knows how we can start making queries for the database in this case. We are creating the context, we are creating a repository using the context, and that's it for this lesson. Now we actually have half the work done for the UnitOfWork. See you next time.